Welcome to your Tech News Today, the Monday through Friday podcast about keeping you informed and empowered by giving you the latest tech stories that impact your daily life. We'll get started in a moment. First, we'd like to recognize our partners who help make these podcasts possible. It's Tuesday, December 11th. I'm Mike James. Coming up in a bit, we'll tell you what scientists just discovered on Mars. Plus, watch out for these shady apps, and your anonymous identity online might not be so anonymous. All that today on Tech News Today. We start with some pretty cool sounds coming from Mars. NASA's Mars lander called the InSight reached the red planet a couple of weeks ago. Its mission is to thoroughly examine the planet like never before. One of the first things it sent back to Earth was a collection of eerie noises, NASA describing it as the first ever sounds of Martian wind. Here is a barely hearable version. And in the second version, we crank up the volume so it's very clear to hear. That noise is created by wind blowing at up to 15 miles per hour, and it kind of took NASA by surprise. One scientist said capturing this audio was an unplanned treat. That's mainly because most of the equipment hasn't been set up yet. The sound waves were recorded by a seismometer, which will eventually be used to collect vibrations from internal activities of Mars. It's designed to give us a breakdown of the planet's makeup. NASA hopes the data will reveal how Mars was made and how the solar system was put together billions of years ago. Scientists expect tons of interesting information to come from this InSight and Mars mission. We'll certainly keep you up to date. Hey, speaking of space, we're gearing up for a total lunar eclipse in January, about January 19th. It's going to be spectacular, and we'll have much more details for you as we get closer. Moving along, there's no shortage of bad apps, but things get worse when you start having to deal with nefarious apps, the kind that load on your device and automatically click ads to make their owners and creators money. It's known as adware, and it lurks in apps that seem real, but they don't work as advertised. Once you download and open the app, you're subject to a barrage of annoying ads designed only to profit the developer. Well, now things are getting worse. A new trick has been added to a handful of these malicious apps that will make the scammers even more money. The Google Play Store just pulled 22 of these scammer apps from its Play Store, but not before they were downloaded about 2 million times. What made these apps even more sinister was the fact that they didn't just disguise the intent, they also disguised the device that they were installed on as a way to earn even more money. You see, to online advertisers, these apps would make an Android gadget appear to be an iPhone. And that's important because traffic from Apple devices is worth more money on ad networks than others, including Android. These apps contain a special code to make it look like it's installed on an iPhone, even when it's not. Then it navigates to specific web pages and clicks ads so the crooked developer can cash in. As I mentioned, the apps have already been removed from Google Play Store, but if you think you might have downloaded one of these apps, or if you're just curious, we've set up a list for you at commander.com. Just search 22 apps pulled after this new adware trick. And just ahead, if you think your identity is hidden, it's probably not. Right now, let me tell you about our partners at Quip. I love when I see technology used in a way that not only improves your life, it also improves your health. And I'm talking about Quip, the electric toothbrush. This is not just any old electric toothbrush. It was created by dentists and designers and the pros that understand sometimes you need to add technology to improve a product. I love brushing my teeth with Quip. It gently pulses, so if you have sensitive gums, it's a perfect toothbrush for you. And I feel like I have given my teeth a deep cleaning, and it's something that you don't get with a manual toothbrush. Quip electric toothbrush is the perfect gift for anyone with a mouth. That means everybody. And it may look like a big ticket item, but it starts at just $25. And if you go to quip.com/Kim right now, you get your first refill pack for free with a Quip electric toothbrush. But you don't have to tell your giftee that. That's your first refill pack free at getquip.com. That's getquip.com/Kim. I bet you've never realized how much of a data factory we've all become. It's true. With all the sensors planted in major cities across the United States and most of us constantly carrying a smartphone, it was inevitable Sending texts, making calls, passing through subway turnstiles, and just having a smartphone in your pocket generates tons of location-specific data. The data is important to people like city planners who want to understand where the population may migrate to, but it's, of course, not just used for urban development. Tech companies and advertisers also want the inside scoop on who's spending time in specific locations. Most people aren't worried about being tracked like this because it's supposed to be anonymized, meaning any features that could help identify you are scrubbed from the data. At least that's what we've been told. But that might not actually be the case. A group of MIT scientists and urban developers recently conducted a study and showed that it's fairly easy to figure out who is who. So no, your anonymous data is not so anonymous after all. The MIT group combined a couple anonymized sets of data from people for the study. They were able to uncover identities just by looking at anonymized phone and transit records. They both had data points detailing time and location. A simple algorithm was able to match data that overlapped and uncovered identities. It took a while, but after 11 weeks, they were able to positively identify people with about a 95% accuracy rate. Researchers said they just wanted to make people aware of potential risks that come with sharing mobile data, and that citizens should demand that this information is never used to identify people. Thumbs up to MIT, high five, and thanks for putting it out there for people that don't know. Now, speaking of being tracked, some of those apps on your smartphone are keeping detailed records of your every move. According to the New York Times, popular apps like WeatherBug, the Weather Channel, and GasBuddy are tracking users' locations with pinpoint detail. Specific street addresses and comprehensive trip details are being collected. This information is allegedly being sold to advertisers. Again, the data is supposed to be anonymous, but according to the Times, it's easily linkable to individuals through homeowner or employment records. Apparently, the apps are upfront about the commercial use of this data, but it's buried in the terms of service agreements that most people never bother reading. If you're worried about being tracked, check your app's privacy settings and pay attention to the terms of service before giving permissions to use your data. Google is about to add a new feature to its Chrome browser that may enhance your browsing experience. The company is working on adding support to Chrome for dark mode in Mac OS Mojave. Dark mode changes the background and many elements of certain apps on your gadget from light color shades to black and gray. It's used to improve readability and it's easier on the eyes. It's still in the early stages of beta testing, but if all the bugs get worked out, it could be available early next year. Coming up, true edge-to-edge display might soon be here without the notch. Right now, a quick thank you to our friends who help make these podcasts possible. Apple's iPhone X was one of the first gadgets to have the edge-to-edge display, but in truth, it's not really edge-to-edge. There's actually a notch found at the top of the screen that hosts the front-facing camera along with a speaker and sensors. Some people are actually very annoyed about it. Well, a couple of phone makers are about to come out with a new device that gets rid of that notch. Samsung's Galaxy A8 and the Huawei Honor View 20 will both support edge-to-edge displays without the notch. Instead, there's going to be a tiny circular space that looks like a hole punch, and it will be less prominent than what you'd find on the iPhone. Both companies claim to be the first to offer true notchless camera design, but neither of the gadgets are equipped with sensors and used for facial identification. Do you suffer from FOMO? FOMO, of course, means fear of missing out. Many people experience these days when scrolling through social media. And why wouldn't they? It seems like most everyone on Facebook is leading a glamorous life. One day they're showing off their brand new car. The next day they're posting pictures of that wonderful vacation in Aruba. Then you switch over to Instagram and see tons of photos of ecstatic couples who are in love. It looks like they really couldn't be any happier. How is this possible? Well, things are not always as they appear. Be still my beating heart. A new survey conducted by Match.com revealed that a quarter of all couples admit that their relationship looks much better online than it is in real life. Not only that, but about 30% of adults surveyed said that they are jealous of what they see posted on social media. Nearly 25% compare their relationship to other couples and what they are posting online. The more time someone spends on social media, the more likely they are to experience these feelings. I know. Single people who check Facebook over 10 times a day are twice as likely to have low self-esteem from looking at posts than those who only checked a couple of times a day. One psychologist responded to the study by saying people shouldn't compare real life to Facebook posts. Really? People typically only show us the good things in their life, but are probably dealing with some of the same struggles everyone else is. By the way, once you're done listening to our podcast, if you appreciate it, please do us a favor and give us a 5-star review. It helps other people find us. Finally, for today's Commando Kicker, why live in captivity when you can be free with the turkeys? It's exactly what one pet peacock decided to do in Vermont. The owners reported it missing after 6 weeks and say it has started to hang out with a flock of wild turkeys. Oh, that's a bad crowd. They believe he took up with them because his sibling peacock has died. However, since peacocks and turkeys have different diets, there's not a good probability that the peacock will survive the winter outside captivity. Luckily, he does still return to the old farm for occasional treats, so hopefully he'll make it. And that's your tech news today. If you enjoyed it, check out our other podcasts like the Consumer Tech Update, packed with facts, opinion, and introducing you to the latest going on in tech underneath the surface. That's a Consumer Tech Update on podnet.com or your favorite podcast player by searching KOMANDO. Have a good day, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.